Dear President Cederfelt, I would now like to invite you to address the Permanent Council.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you very much for your kind words about the work we do inside OSCE Parliamentary Assembly. We, members of the Parliamentary Assembly, do very much appreciate the cooperation with the chairperson, Polish chairpersonship. We do also welcome the leadership, your focus on the important situation we have today inside OSCE and worldwide. Thank you. Your Excellencies, I last addressed your esteemed body on the afternoon of the 23rd of February, as Russian missiles rained on Ukraine, cities and military columns poured across the borders. The 24th of February, it was also the first day we had an in-person meeting in the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly. We were here in Hofburg with the head of the delegations. And I must say that it was a terrible feeling among all of us who attended the meeting in person when the head of the Ukrainian delegation, Mr. Mikita Potorayev, started to talk when he talked about the situation in Ukraine, about the situation in Kiev, about the situation around with the unprovoked attack from Russia. On Friday afternoon, when our meeting ended, the Ukrainian delegate, together with his members of the Ukrainian Secretariat, they went home to defend the country. We, the rest of us, we went home to see our families. I say this because this is something I and all my colleagues bring with us. It was a situation that we will never forget. Since then, 245 days of terror for millions of Ukrainians. Indiscriminate missile strikes on civilian infrastructure, cities nearly totally destroyed, thousands of civilians buried under rubble, millions displaced or deported. In the occupied territories, summary executions, torture, pillage, and looting, widespread reports of war crimes and crimes against humanity. Who could have managed this happening in 2022 in the heart of Europe? The OSCE PA Birmingham Declaration, adopted last July, condemns in the strongest terms Russia's military aggression against Ukraine. It is a gross violation of the fundamentals of international law. It is a flagrant violation of the sovereignty of Ukraine and its territorial integrity. It is a blatant attack against the human rights and fundamental freedom of the people of Ukraine. As the Russian Federation doubles down in these clear and gross violations, including through shame referenda to illegally annex more territory, we must remain united and determined. The recent joint statement with Chairperson in Office, Foreign Minister Rao, me, Secretary General Smith, Secretary General Montella, and the heads of institutions display the unity of the OSCE family on the matter. The OSCE PA has characterized the Russian Federation's violation of the Helsinki Principles as clear, gross, and uncorrected since the illegal annexation of Crimea in 2014. Today, I ask the participating states present in the Permanent Council to use the same language to demonstrate their support for Ukraine and their resolute defense of the Helsinki Principles. Earlier this week, I participated in the first parliamentary summit of the Crimea platform in Zagreb. Earlier, there is a Crimea platform adopted by the governmental side, and now it's also a parliamentarian platform. Close to 40 parliaments and parliamentary assemblies coming together with the same message. We will continue to support Ukraine diplomatically and politically, and we will continue to demand that the Russian Federation end this unprovoked and unjustified war. Mr. Chair, as you have rightly underlined, since the 24th of February, this is not business as usual. We are witnessing the most severe assault on European security since the signing of the Helsinki Act. The war in Ukraine has widespread implications for the whole OSCE region and beyond. It has invited every country to rethink their defense posture, and it has reshaped military alliances. It has exacerbated food and energy security challenges worldwide. But even as all our countries face growing economic difficulties, we cannot give in, we shouldn't give in, and we are not giving in. We must remain united and resolved to defend Ukraine, its people, its sovereignty, its independence, and its internationally recognized borders. We must continue to stand up for the Helsinki principles and defend the work of OSCE. And I see this as a very important issue today. Nobody should say that OSCE is not working, because it is. And I think that your Madam and Mr. Ambassadors here, you are really proof on this. The energy and the engagement here, it shows that OSCE is working, it's stable, and it's willing to continue to support the Helsinki principles. And from OSCE PA, we look forward to assisting North Macedonia in its upcoming chairmanship. And we have repeatedly noted over the years, taking the helm of the OSCE is never an easy task. Chairing the OSCE today is an act of courage and value. Next month, I will visit Skopje to discuss with the incoming chairperson in office, Foreign Minister Osmani, ways for OSCE PA to support the priorities and together strengthen our collective work. As challenges continue to mount, strong synergies are needed so that they can be overcome. Mr. Chair, the recent recurrence of fighting between Armenia and Azerbaijan compels us to work towards a long-term cessation of hostilities. We must give diplomacy a chance to prevail over the use of force. In this regard, I commend ongoing efforts to eliminate the border between the two countries and to conclude a peace treaty. I also welcome efforts by third parties to support Armenia and Azerbaijan in these endeavors. Yet, there is a need for strong OSCE involvement in the South Caucasus to ensure long-lasting peace and stability. We must sustain our ongoing work, particularly in the framework of the incident prevention and response mechanism and the Geneva international discussions, and continue to look forward for ways to support confidence building. Last month's border clashes between Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan are yet another reminder that peace is fragile. It can never be taken for granted. It takes courage to deliver. It takes wisdom and restraint to sustain. Within the OSCE itself, I am extremely concerned at the imminent aggravation of the organization due to lack of consensus. Today, we face another leadership vacuum with no participating state in line to join the Troika in just 2 months and to chair the OSCE in 2024. But I am convinced that there will be a decision. And I look forward, and my colleagues as well. For the third consecutive year, the OSCE was unable to hold its flagship human rights meeting. Although the Warsaw Human Dimension Conference was a great opportunity for all of us to reconnect with civil society representatives, I am concerned that we are sabotaging the instrument that help us promote and protect human rights and fundamental freedoms, democracy, and the rule of law. Lack of consensus on this year's budget threatens the OSCE ability to assist participating states in a number of key areas, while the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly is less constrained by the consensus rules. We are also preparing to suffer an unprecedented budget crunch. We will stretch the already limited resources and further restrict the ability to support our joint work inside OSCE. But I do also address the country who block all these decisions to rethink, because if OSCE should have a value, an impact, and really be fulfilled in the Helsinki Act, we need to have decisions and not a blocking position. As OSCE Parliamentary Assembly is a strong supporter of OSCE field operation, we are particularly alarmed at the prospect of closure in the coming months. This year has already seen the abrupt shutdown of OSCE most visible asset, the Special Monitoring Mission in Ukraine, as well as the project coordinator in Ukraine, which for the last 3 decades has supported Ukrainian state institutions, civil society, and citizens. I will welcome the launch by the chairperson in office, Foreign Minister Rao, and Secretary General Smith of a new support program for Ukraine, which will preserve the OSCE legacy work in Ukraine while also contributing to addressing humanitarian needs. But we must remain very that these exceptional circumstances do not lead to a new normal in which the OSCE is absent from where it is needed the most. In Central Asia and Southeast Europe, the OSCE has built trusted partnership and amassed invaluable experience to support the implementation of the OSCE commitments. It's of high importance to ensure that these programs are preserved and strengthened. We must also remain mobilized to ensure that every OSCE staff is protected and cared for. This is something that we have highlighted also in the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly, and we give you all support in this important issue. It's our collective responsibility to make sure that people who serve OSCE can continue to carry out their mission despite all the hardship, all the difficulties. I am appealed that 2 former employees of the SMM have been sentenced for performing their official duties in the occupied territories of Ukraine. And we will continue to act to get them released. I can promise that. Your Excellencies, in Lodz, my appeal to your ministers will be clear. Now is the right time to support OSCE. As we approach the 5th anniversary of the Helsinki Final Act, the 50th, not the 5th, the 50th anniversary of the Helsinki Final Act, we must continue to stand up for our shared values and principles. We have to continue to call out blatant transgression of international law and seek that they are corrected. We must continue to assist all participating states in the implementation of their OSCE commitments. And I would like to draw our attention towards Ukraine. We also cannot afford to overlook the numerous domains where the OSCE can make a difference in the lives of all citizens. This remains our main drive as parliamentarians. The Birmingham Declaration adopted at our annual session outlines priorities where we see values in the OSCE engagement with the support of our parliamentarians and your governments. Together, we must do more to combat global warming and accelerate the clean energy transition. We must continue to defend the socio-economic well-being in the OSCE region. We do also have to carry out defending individual rights and freedoms. Together, we can promote inclusive societies and we can tackle discrimination and extremism, including through the adoption of the OSCE Anti-Discrimination, Equity and Inclusion Plan. Mr. Chair, I and my fellow colleagues in OSCE PA remain convinced that the OSCE can fulfill its role as an effective, all-inclusive platform where participating states can rebuild basic trust and confidence through principle-based dialogue. To this end, you can count on the continued support of the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly and the multiple tools at our disposal. The leadership of the Assembly's committees meets on regular basis to streamline the activities in the OSCE dimensions. The flexibility of our ad hoc committees on migration and on countering terrorism enable us to enhance the work of the OSCE in these fields. And if it wouldn't be for the budget problem, I would also ask our Assembly to start and initiate an ad hoc committee on the climate. But we have to stay focused on the main topic we have. Thanks to our special representatives, we continue to highlight regional and thematic areas of the relevance for the OSCE in our work. The PA network of young parliamentarians provides a space where the voice of future leaders can be heard and where we can promote the role of youth in peace and security. Likewise, we will start today a network for women parliamentarians because in some countries there is very few women parliamentarians overall and even less women in OSCE PA delegations. We are today about 23% women who are members of OSCE national delegations. When it was the highest amount, it was 28% of women delegates inside OSCE. And I think this reflects the need also to promote women in politics and women's participation in security politics. Several of you ambassadors have participated in the events held in the framework of our Call for Action Helsinki Plus 50 initiative, which will continue to provide an arena to debate ways to make the OSCE more effective and more impactful. And all these instruments feed valuable parliamentary input in the work of the OSCE organization. I and my fellow colleagues look forward to working closely with you, with the OSCE Secretariat and with the OSCE institutions so that we will all put together in the same direction. Mr. Chair, as OSCE PA Assembly prepares to meet again in Warsaw next month for our autumn meeting, let me use this opportunity to commend Poland for its leadership, both as at the governmental and at the parliamentary level. Throughout this year, in the face of an unprecedented assault on the security and cooperation in Europe, Poland's support to Ukraine's defenders, to Ukrainian refugees, and before that to the Belarusian democratic movement is admirable. Let me once more voice my personal appreciation for your stewardship of the OSCE in these times and grave crisis, and wish you a success as you carry out preparation for the Ministerial and Council meeting. And thank all of you for your attention. I look forward to comments and questions. Thank you.